Hey y'all, I am jumping right into today's topic, and it is on preparation. Whether that we're preparing for life, preparing for school, preparing for an extracurricular activity, we all have to prepare. And it could be for something as little as getting pencils to making a big purchase or spending lots of time practicing. It has a wide range of things that it could include. So preparation is something that we have to do every day of our life for everything that we're doing. It doesn't matter what it is, no matter how big or how small, we always have to be prepared. So my personal preparation right now is for the Miss Collegiate America pageant. I just got my final dress in today, and I'm so excited I started my shopping early because even though I started shopping last September, I'm just now finalizing everything, and the pageant is in 2 weeks. And so it is so important to go ahead and start preparing for whatever you have your passion on or whatever you know is coming up to make you better. So whether it's you have a cousin coming in that you want to get them toys that they can play with while they're here, or you're getting ready to start back in school, we always have to be prepared to be our best selves. So I'm going to leave you guys with a checklist of things that I do to make sure that I'm prepared for whatever life is throwing at me. The first on the list is to do your research. We are always having to commit to different things in our lives, and before we commit to those things, that we need to do our research to make sure that we have the resources and the time to be able to do them, much like I talked about in my time management video. One of the things that you could be committing to is gymnastics or dance or a sports team. So do you have the resources to be able to do it, whether it's having a soccer ball at home to practice? Do you have the time to practice? And that will give you the preparation you need to be on the team or to go to the match or whatever that you need to do to be able to make sure you're ready. Now, if it's school and you don't feel like you're ready and you still have to do it, the best thing you can do is check in on what that school requires you to have or what that grade requires you to have, because especially if you're going from elementary to middle school or middle school to high school, they may have different requirements. So from when I went from middle school to high school, we didn't have lockers in high school like we did in middle school. So that was a preparation I had to have, so that way I knew whether or not I could use my locker, which I couldn't. So I looked into that ahead of time, so I knew that I had to be prepared to carry around all my books on my bag and not have them in a locker during the day. Now the next thing is, which I mentioned earlier, is to start early. You can never be too early in preparing for whatever task is before you. So since it's June and school just got out, you may not have it until August, but if you know you're going to need a new backpack for next year and you happen to see a backpack that you like or you need, then go ahead and get it, because starting early will never hurt you, and then that way you have one thing checked off later whenever you do have to really start buckling down for school. Which leads me to my next point, which is to make a checklist. Whether you're practicing for your gymnastics meet or dance recital, maybe you need to say, I need to do my turns 5 times today. I need to practice bar an extra time this week. And that way you have a checklist of everything you need to get done, and you don't forget to do anything. Because if you forget to practice that one step, or you forget to meet your friends to practice soccer, then you're going to miss out on an opportunity to be able to do your best. And that's what's most important, and that's why we prepare, because we want to do our best. Next is to leave time to practice. Sometimes we get so caught up in doing what we're doing and trying to get ready, we forget that we actually have to practice what we're doing. I have to put on my dresses for the pageant and practice. I have to practice in my interview skills, because even though I want to stay true to my heart, I also want to do my best, and sometimes that means practicing what questions that may be thrown at me, looking up and researching what is going on in the news for questions that I could be asked during the pageant, and that way I know that I'm doing whatever I can to do my best. The last thing that I would say when you're preparing is to always do it with passion, especially when we're doing something that's a lot harder than we're used to, whether I'm walking in a new dress or you're practicing a dance move you've never done before. We have to do it with passion. It will make it so much more fun in the long run, and if we're not passionate about what we're doing, then we're never going to be our best selves, and that's what's most important. Now, school may not be something that you're personally passionate about, but that's okay, because you can find ways to make it more passionate. Like I said about your book bag, if you find a book bag you really like, it would make it a lot more enjoyable going to school if you're picking up something that you really feel confident about and you really love to put on your shoulders. And so no matter what, as long as you're doing it with the love and the intensity that it deserves, you will do it well. So the devotion I want to leave you guys with today is from Proverbs 24:27. And it says, "Prepare your work outside, get everything ready for yourself in the field, and after that, build your house." Now, it's kind of a funny analogy, but the reason how it relates to preparation is that it's telling you to prepare outside first and then come inside. Because if you don't have your landscape and your foundation ready, if you don't have your field ready, then how are you going to be able to dig deeper? Because that foundation is the most important part, especially when you're building a house. If you don't have a good foundation, then your whole house will crumble. And that's the same way when we are pursuing things. We have to have that framework laid out so that way we can do our best, we can stay passionate, and we are the most prepared we could be. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've had some new updates on the website, so I hope you guys have checked them out, and I will be seeing you guys shortly. Make sure you keep sending in your questions. Bye, guys.